Today we're here in our studio in New York, and I'm joined by Renée Federico. She's the head of marketing for Primark in the US. With more than 2 decades of experience at Nike and Converse, Renée is now leading Primark's brand expansion during a critical moment of growth in the American market. We will talk about Primark's first US brand campaign, why physical retail still matters, how pop-ups and flagships drive customer acquisition, and what it really means to scale a global value fashion brand in the US today. Here's Paula Macaggi, and this is episode 106 of my show. Welcome to OFFBounds. Renée, welcome to the show. Welcome to OFFBounds.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm very excited to have you here. We have a big story to tell today. You are the head of marketing for Primark US.
I am.
Primark is such a known brand in Europe. We've had Primark on the show before, but for our audience, how would you describe Primark US? How is that different from Primark Europe? And what's your role in the company?
So my role in the company as head of marketing is really to drive awareness for our brand. As you said, we're very well known in Europe, in the UK as well, where we're founded in Ireland, a brand that everyone's grown up with. They know where the stores are, there's stores near them. They have a special place for it in terms of their shopping experience. My role here is really to build awareness for the brand as we build our store estate across the US. And so we're currently at 38 stores in the US, which by, some retailer standards isn't that big, but for us, it's been a very busy couple of years. We've opened a lot of locations, and we're looking at how we continue to kind of serve that US consumer here. Biggest difference is a brand that we're teaching our audience and customer about, where in Europe and the UK, it's a brand that they're reminding them, how great a shopping experience, how great a proposition that we have as a brand. So that's really the main difference. We operate on the same principles. We're committed, dedicated to offering style, affordability, quality, in a unique way that Primark can bring that to our customers. And really, it's just about what's the story we need to tell in the US to get customers to know who we are, visit our stores more often, be top of mind for them.
Sounds like an exciting job, actually.
It is.
It's such a successful brand. It sounds exciting to have the role of bringing that excitement that we have in Europe here too.
Absolutely. And I think, we're currently a brand that's anchored in our store experience. And I think it's a little bit what I see in the marketplace right now, because there's a lot of choice for the U.S. consumers and consumers in general globally. But if we stay focused on the United States, is consumers do have a lot of options. Shop online, shop the store, pick up, click and collect, all these different options. However, I do think the store experience itself is having a moment. And I think the US consumer is demanding more of that store experience because it's a conscious choice among many choices. And so one of the things that Primark does exceptionally well is our retail store operations. We give customers a really great store experience, and we're very focused on that. And our teams in the stores work really hard to deliver on our promise for customers. It makes my job easier because it's just a matter of making sure they're aware of who we are and trying to drive that footfall to the stores. Once they get there, we have a really easy time getting them to come back because our store experiences really do sit among the best across fashion retail.
So basically we're saying is that once they walk into the store, they are probably going to stay loyal to the brand.
Yeah.
You just need the first awareness to get them into the store.
Exactly. We found through our research is that the likelihood of return customers once they've shopped with us is very high. We outpace all of our competitive set. The problem is we track about 40 basis points behind our competitor set in terms of awareness. So we're not top of mind, but we know once we get them there, it's very likely we'll keep them as a customer. Which if you think about in the conversation today about loyalty and retention and things like that, we have such an asset in our stores from a retention standpoint because our experience is excellent. Now, we can look at how do we build more of an ecosystem around our customers to add more value to that experience for them.
Yeah, but Primark has been in the US for a while. I was reading it's been 10 years already?
10 years, yeah.
Yeah. What is the momentum that the brand found to finally invest in hiring you and this growth of the brand right now in the market?
I think it was consciously and strategically, the brand took a test and learn approach throughout the marketplace, right? So the United States is big and markets differ quite a bit. It's almost like how you have such differences in the markets in Europe, in the European countries and the countries in the United Kingdom. And so that approach to the US to say was, okay, what formats do we need? What markets do we need to be in? Then how do we learn in those markets to be able to inform our choices going forward? And then once we had a little bit of data to go on, we were able to kind of accelerate that growth. And we're still doing that. We're still testing markets and learning. We're still finding, how our consumers evolved, right? For all of retail, for all of commerce, for all the marketplace, the pandemic really was an inflection point. And so that was an accelerated learning time as well, especially for physical retail. But we gained some momentum in the last several years, and we understand the US consumer better. And what we realized, and what I show up every day to do and contribute, is, hey, how do we know our consumer to serve our consumer? And how do we build awareness amongst all our potential customers and drive them to our stores and enable them to participate with our brand?
And a few months ago, you had this campaign, This is So Primark.
Yes.
What was this campaign about, and how did you get through the process of building it, and what was the outcome?
Yeah, I think, there's this a bit of an insight that because we operate in the trend and style space, and customers that seek that out are kind of obsessed with our styles and trends. And so we wanted to play on that love for our brand and also the affordability of what we're able to offer. And we think that that's a point of distinction for us, and also just our unique kind of tone of voice. And so That's So Primark is our way of saying, like, when you can find the most stylish pieces at affordable prices that are quality, that make you feel great, that's us. That's So Primark. When you can find everything you need for your family in one shopping trip, that's us. That's So Primark. When you can find a piece you weren't even looking for and you're just going to treat yourself, like, that's us. That's So Primark. And so we really wanted to celebrate how captivating our proposition is from our products and assortments and our store experience, and then also couple that up with the affordability and quality of what we're able to offer. And as I said, that's a point at which we can distinguish ourselves from other retailers in the US.
Yeah, but I also think you have a challenge and actually an advantage because Primark serves all groups. Yeah. It's not like you're serving only the Gen Z or only the Gen A, or only you actually serve from someone that is being born today.
Yeah.
to someone that is already older.
Right.
So you have a vast consumer pool to test.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think just as part of, being able to market effectively, though, we do zero in on a mindset that we want to be able to create some aspiration around. And that really does sit in sort of more of the style-led space. And then we're able to take that message and we're able to adapt and execute it in such a way that we reach all those different audiences. So sure, for everything from infant clothing all the way up to licensed NFL apparel and everything in between, inclusive of all the latest styles and trends and all the best essentials you could ask for, tights and first layer tops and different things like that. So it's a lot. But as marketers, what we need to think about is what is our mechanism to storytell? And then how do we use that, and how can we extrapolate that message to make sure all of the different audiences and consumers know that we have something for them as well? Because, I mean, as you know, you talk to marketers all the time. If you try to push everything you have at everyone, one, you won't get any efficiency out of your investment. So it's really hard to defend that choice, right? So especially today is marketing investments under a lot of scrutiny. And well, it should be, right? Because, gone are the days you can just buy a commercial on network television, increase your sales, call it a day. There's so much competition for the consumer's attention. So what you have to ultimately do is say, okay, what is our primary message? How are we really going to inspire and engage an audience? And then how can we strategically ensure that what we do is able to halo across multiple consumer sets that become our business drivers as well?
Yeah. And how is the choice of channels? I think like for each, because like for a lot of the marketers we talk about, like we always talk about the social channels and
Sure.
But it's also like driving to the website that will eventually drives
Yep.
But Primark is actually physical.
Sure.
How is that demand generation structure for you?
I mean, it's essentially the same, right? It's just with a different expectation of the outcomes you're driving, right? So our website is very much a part of our shopping experience because one, for us, it helps us learn about intent. It helps us learn about what is resonating, right? So if you think of the full funnel of a marketing offense, obviously you have to fill the top to deliver the bottom of the funnel. However, the ways in for consumers come from all over, right? So you need to make sure that you kind of have a healthy flow of messaging and that your channels are evenly balanced. So if it's too out of balance, then you'll lose the ability to kind of keep that customer engaged in whatever way they're interacting with your brand. But
so it's still an omni-channel perspective,
of
but
course,
without the shopping online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the shopping online comes without transacting online, I would say.
Yeah.
Because you can still shop. I shop online all the time and actually never buy anything, but I'm shopping. It's like if your phone is the new mall, right? Where you shop apps, you shop websites, you click on email. All those channels are at play, and technically you are shopping, and you can learn a lot about intent. And then you have to say, okay, now our unique challenge is we have to make sure that individual comes to a store. Where another brand could just say, hey, let's just serve them a link because they can transact.
Yeah.
Our transact happens in stores right now for the US.
So they first basically would scan they have nice things, and then
Sure.
they go to the store.
Yeah, they can look at key items that they might be looking for. Maybe they want to, buy it everywhere. And here we are in the Northeast today. It's freezing, right?
It's
Maybe they want to buy it.
We're still in our
Exactly. Maybe they need to buy jackets for their whole family, right? They can go to the website and say, okay, this is the one that I would want. They do have one, for everyone in my family, right? So they can just kind of get a sense of what they need. And so again, it's really, they can fully shop. It's just they can't transact. And so again, it helps us measure intent and interest, and it helps us measure the efficacy of what marketing and messaging we're putting out there to those different audiences.
It's just different metrics, I guess, from other
Sure.
brands.
Yeah. Like another example is, for example, we're based in Boston. I'm from Boston. The New England Patriots, the NFL team, will play in the Super Bowl in a little over a week and a half.
Patriots is my team, by the way.
They really? Oh, amazing, right? So we have a great line of licensed Patriots gear, right? So when you think about channels and you think about, okay, how can we now this is a great moment to participate in this broader cultural moment. How do we use the data we have, understand from shopping behavior, from geographical location, and who might be interested in Patriots gear, and serve them those ads and use that as a draw to bring them to our brand.
This is a little bit off the script, but do you have any plans for the World Cup?
For the what?
The World Cup?
Yes. Well, the World Cup, obviously, it is the biggest sporting event in the world. I think, maybe you could debate and argue and say the Olympics is that, but the Olympics doesn't have the same fandom that soccer or football has, depending what you call it, where you're from. We do have some great licensed relationships with some of the football entities, the global football entities. And so we're working really hard with our team back in Dublin right now to understand how we can participate in a moment like that, especially since it's hosted here in the United States. And it's hosted in markets where we have a very good presence of stores. So more to come on that. Let's leave a cliffhanger for all the listeners, and we'll have to come back and talk about those
I just want to give
plans.
a customer feedback. I hope I will see some Brazil stuff because
I mean, Brazil is one of the most iconic teams globally of all time, whether you're a Ronaldo fan all the way up through, right? Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
A passionate fan here.
Great.
I think like customer acquisition cost has been a regular topic here, especially this month. For some reason, everybody is bringing this topic. How are you dealing with your customer acquisition costs in the US market? I don't know, I'm so intrigued because the customer acquisition costs, how do you have the metric to know that they went to your store?
I think we do have some tools where we have some measurement and we can either infer or actually confirm that we're able to drive footfall from certain acquisition activity.
Okay.
I think for us right now, because we are in a place where we are growing awareness, we have a little bit more flexibility, I think, in how we weigh those acquisition costs. So, for example, right now we're operating a brand space, a brand studio in NoHo here in New York.
That's what we're going after.
Exactly. And so that's our opportunity to create a special moment for the brand and also invite people in to really participate with our brand in a way where we can make it very tactile and really kind of, highlight what's special about our brand. And so right now at the space, we're featuring our performance collection. It's January, late January. Everyone's going to the gym. Everyone's, working on their wellness and self-care. It's cold. Everyone needs to, the beauty products that help get us through the winter until the springtime. So all of that is what we're featuring in the space. That's a high acquisition cost activity.
Yeah,
right. So we're bringing customers in, we're collecting emails, we're gauging their interest, we're interacting with them. But it's a high acquisition cost, but it's very meaningful. We get a lot of earned media out of it, and we create a lot of fans of the brand because they really truly know who we are. We're not just serving an advertisement or some other
they feel
mechanism.
The brand, yeah.
Exactly. And we can actually, so much of what we do today is through some sort of digital prism, right? Through your phone, through a website, advertising. And so they can actually, they can see how our brand sort of manifests, what's the vibe, But it is a high acquisition cost activity. On the other side of that, when you go into our stores and we can help connect you to Wi-Fi and you have the option to opt into an email, very low acquisition cost, right? So we have a full spectrum of that, and all of them deliver different things for us. And so as we assess those things, we say, essentially, what's the balance? Do we have a good balance? Do we see value in our high investment acquisition cost? How do we keep those audiences and customers engaged? And where we're collecting more at scale, how can we make sure that we have the right technology in place to really personalize for them when we do market to them and create that balance?
And NoHo is an interesting location because it seems like you're having a big opening a few months from now.
Yes. So we're opening in Herald Square.
Okay.
Our flagship location in the spring.
So you are engaging with the community of New York consumers.
Exactly.
And then eventually you're going to open this store.
Exactly.
You already have a community. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, our flagship location will open in Herald Square here in Manhattan. It is the premier retail destination, or one of globally, the premier retail destination.
Yeah, for our audience that are not aware, Herald Square is where the largest Macy's in the world is. It's also where the largest H&M in the world is. So now we're going to have a Primark.
It's so flagship row, right, for all the brands. So we're thrilled to be on that street and be able to serve that customer. Our space in NoHo is also it was really driven through, hey, where can we go somewhere a bit unexpected and be able to see how big of a draw that the brand is. And all of what we're doing with our studio space and some of the other activations leading up to the opening at Herald Square on 34th Street is really meant to kind of energize the brand as we get to that flagship grand opening.
I can't wait for that. I think that
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's going to be our case study for 2026.
Yeah, great. Okay, great.
We're going to do a lot of retail safaris and we're going to explore the store.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll let the teams know. We'll be ready.
Yeah. And your locations, you have 38 stores, right?
Yes. Yep.
Up to more this year.
Yep.
Are they all in the East Coast of the US for now?
I wouldn't say East Coast. Where right now I would say we have sort of Eastern United States is where we're kind of looking, and all the leases that we've publicized that we're going to sign sit from, the furthest west we are is in Illinois, in the greater Chicago area, and in Texas. We see a lot of opportunity to serve our customers in the Dallas, Houston area, and a few other markets in Texas. So that's at this moment in time is about how far west we go. We have a great concentration of stores in the Northeast, especially here in the New York metro area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, which is great. The Manhattan store will anchor that kind of group. We're in the DMV for the listeners, right? Like down in Maryland, DC, Virginia area. A few stores in Florida, which our customers love. So as we're going into each market, we're really learning a lot, and then we're still exploring where else we can go. So we have leases signed in Georgia and a few other places. Our expansion has been a story of really thoughtful learning about the customer and really looking at how can we best serve a marketplace and be able to bring our experience to the most people possible.
And from the marketing perspective, you're going to open, for example, in a location or in a state that you haven't been before.
Yes.
Do you do the market research first on how you're going to attract these customers?
Yeah, we do. That's one of the biggest challenges, I would say, because when you're a physical location only and you're in a new state or new area, it's really difficult to achieve scale. And so talk about high acquisition costs or different things like that. So we do take a very thoughtful approach. One, we use our resources. Typically, we're mall or center based. And so those partners are very, very valuable to us. We're able to talk about the types of consumers. We're able to understand more about the marketplace. They have a lot of knowledge and data, and then they want to see our stores do well as much as we want to draw traffic to their centers. So it's a great collaborative relationship. We do the market research. We use our agency partners. We use our media partners. We have excellent partnerships and resources across multiple disciplines that help us understand, hey, the difference. There is a big difference between, we just opened in Miami at the Dolphin Mall.
I was going to say, that was something that surprised you.
Yes, exactly. I was happy to go to that opening. It was Miami in December. I said, yes, come in. But there's a difference in the customer, that we want to market to at Dolphin Mall in Miami versus the customer that we want to market to in Castleton, Indiana, right? And so understanding the nuances of those markets is very important, while at the same time remaining consistency about what our brand message is. So we do get into the markets, we try to learn, we do our best to achieve scale, and we've adopted this approach where we don't just go in and launch a store and market the opening and leave. We've tried to create a trajectory of how do we preheat the market, activate during our launch of the store, sustain that marketing, because customers don't get it on the first try, and then we optimize from there and really go back and say, okay, what's working in this market and how do we best optimize that? I
love that. You've worked for two incredible brands, Nike and Converse.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, how was for you to accept this challenge of working for a European brand growing into the US market?
I mean, it felt really similar, and it did because I went from two brands with really passionate, exceptionally knowledgeable, consumer-obsessed teams and leaders to a brand with very passionate, consumer-obsessed, very knowledgeable teams and leaders. So from that standpoint, it felt the same. Nike was really focused around sport as an enabler of human potential. Converse was really centered on self-expression as an enabler of creativity. And at Primark, we're really focused on joy, enabled through our proposition of style and affordability. So, yeah, the work is different, certainly, but just the amount of passion and the amount of expertise and the amount of, I guess, this willingness or this desire to kind of set the bar higher and then reach it, and then set the bar higher and reach it, felt very, very familiar to me.
You have an incredible career because you've been working with three. That's such a great point. Like 3 brands that everybody's passionate about. 3
Absolutely.
that I am.
Yeah. And you can tell whether you experience those brands as a consumer or what what you know of them, or experience those brands having worked for them. That comes through in a way that that you can tell that the biggest opportunity we have is to protect the perception of the brand. And so whether Nike has a perception or Converse has a perception or Primark has a perception, what that perception is, I feel is my job every day to ensure that it remains aspirational and it remains one that is globally recognized, respected, things like that.
And how do you do that? Because I've seen brands that lose it throughout time.
Yep.
Like, how do we ensure that it stays with the same brand, the same feeling, the same passion?
Yeah. I would say that the way you do that is you go back to what is your core belief, and is that meaningful to your customer? Is that meaning to your vision, what you're trying to do? If you can't answer those 2 things honestly, what do we believe and how do we deliver that belief to our customer? Then everything else is you have to question the reasoning for it, and it may exist for good reason. It may be necessary as for one way or another, but the way that, in my opinion, the way that you protect that, you really have an honest look at what do we believe and how do we deliver on that belief to our customer, and that keeps you in this sort of echelon of brand recognition.
Very good.
Yeah.
And there's so many, Primark is, of course, it's a love brand. I like my Brazil friends, when they go to Europe, this is like the touristic spot.
Yes.
It's the whole day that they separate to go to Primark and bring lots of home.
Yes.
It really is a world recognized brand.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's also in a very crowded market, which is value fashion. And I think especially with Shein and Temu selling clothes for almost nothing, what are the key differentiators that Primark has, especially when these brands promote, they deliver at home, it's so convenient.
Exactly.
What Primark does that differentiate from them?
Right. I think there's 2 things that we look at. One is the other brands can't replicate that feeling that you just described with your friends, which is they have a desire, they're emotionally invested in going and getting those things because they know that they're gonna find the pieces they love. They know that they're gonna find things to wear they feel confident in. They're gonna, be able to get everything that they want to get. And so it becomes destination. It becomes occasion led, right? And I think if you look at some other brands, it is more oriented towards convenience, or it is oriented more towards value that seems almost unachievable in terms of price and things like that. And so there isn't that same emotional connectivity, that level of excitement, that level of joy, that level of even difficult to describe, I can't wait to go, right? So I think that's one thing our brand delivers that makes it special. The second thing is we don't require our customer to have to compromise, right? So if you look across other brands, you may have to compromise a little bit of how you feel about sustainability for convenience. You may have to compromise
your value on
exactly right? There may be a little bit of a value trade-off there in terms of your personal values, or there may be, for example, you want to go shop trends, but they're last season's trends because they're in an off-price retailer, or the shopping experience isn't great, but you'll kind of put up with it so you can get something for a price that you want it. We don't require our customers to compromise. We give an excellent store experience with on-style trend assortments. We're able to serve broadly for everything they need from a style and apparel offering. It's affordable and it's great quality. And so there's no compromise there.
Yeah, your personal values are secured and you still have good fashion, high quality.
Exactly.
Low price.
Exactly. And so I think that's where we kind of stand out in the marketplace is, well, it's like, well, pick a thing. Obviously, if you put us against an online experience, we would not be able to fulfill with home delivery right now. But if you put us store to store, it's okay, you walk in a store and we can uniquely deliver that proposition of style, quality, and affordability better than anyone in the market.
I'm very happy that I'm going to experience this store in Herald Square very soon.
Yeah, we are too.
And the last question to end this interview that was so insightful. What would be your advice to other marketers that want to grow in the US market? That want to grow a brand in the US market?
Yeah. Most simply, I would say be a great listener. And start every strategy with that. And I think because, marketing is often positioned as how do we push messaging? How do we push points of view? How do we optimize? And it gets a little bit clinical. And I think when you step back from that and you really listen to your customer, you listen to the people that are managing the brand day to day. So whether your brand has retail outlets or your brand has training reps or your brand has salespeople, if you are a great listener, you will find a path to what makes your brand special. Listen to your customers. Listen to people who manage the brand across multiple facets. Listen to your agencies when they bring you great insights, and then solve your marketing problems. And I would say that would be probably the advice I would hand out to everyone. On a massive scale.
Thank you so much, Renée. It was a pleasure having you on OFFBounds, and I can't wait to watch the more success of Primark in 2026 and beyond.
Thanks so much for having me.